Hi, welcome to Internet Mysteries with Mio. Today, Cicada 3301, one of the internet's strangest unsolved puzzles. It started with a black image and a hidden message. Let's begin. On January 4th, 2012, an image appeared on 4chan. White text, black background, no face, no brand, no explanation. The message claimed that someone was looking for highly intelligent individuals, and it said a clue was hidden inside the image. That line mattered. It told solvers not to treat the file as a picture, but as a container. The first solve was not visual. People opened the file in ways a normal viewer would ignore, and found readable text appended after the image data. The clue pointed toward Caesar, so solvers tried a Caesar shift, one of the oldest simple ciphers. The decoded message led to another image. In a few moves, Cicada had taught its first rule. The surface is rarely the whole message. The next image looked like a joke. It suggested that solvers had guessed wrong. But the wording was doing more than teasing people. It pointed at Outguess, a real steganography tool. Cryptography hides the meaning of a message. Steganography hides the presence of the message. That distinction became one of Cicada's favorite moves. Running Outguess against the original image revealed a book code and a Reddit community with a name that looked like random characters. This was the first big expansion. The puzzle moved from a single image board post into a public workspace, and suddenly the problem was too large for one person to comfortably hold. On Reddit, the puzzle became a network. Solvers preserved posts, checked image files, chased literary references, compared ciphers, and argued about what counted as proof. Cicada was no longer just asking whether someone could decode a clue. It was watching whether a crowd could organize itself without losing the signal. The Reddit stage pulled in references to King Arthur and the Mabinogion, a collection of medieval Welsh stories. The point was not only that a book could hide an answer. It was that the solver needed range, technical curiosity, patience with old texts, and enough discipline to test one interpretation against another before racing ahead. At this point, the puzzle changed shape. It was not just hidden data anymore. It became a question of identity. If anyone could post a fake clue, how would solvers know which voice was Cicada and which voice was noise? Cicada's answer was PGP. A PGP signature does not reveal a person's real name. What it can prove is that a message came from the same private key as earlier verified messages. For a mystery that attracted copies, hoaxes, and fake trails, this became essential. Online, Cicada's face was not a face. It was a key. The signed messages gave the public hunt a strange kind of continuity. Nobody knew who 3301 was, but solvers could at least ask whether the same cryptographic identity was speaking. That lesson would become more important every year. Do not trust a clue because it looks right. Verify it. The book code work led to a phone number. Calling it did not connect solvers to a person. It played a recorded clue. That was another tonal shift. The puzzle was no longer only images and posts. It was now using voice, timing, and the feeling that something outside the screen was answering. The recorded message pushed solvers toward three prime numbers connected to the original image. One was 3301. The other two were the image dimensions, 509 by 503. Multiplying them produced a number that could be read as a domain. 3301 multiplied by 509 multiplied by 503 gives 845145127, add.com, and the next stage appears. It was elegant because the answer had been sitting in the file's basic properties since the beginning. The website showed the cicada symbol and a countdown. A countdown changes the pressure of a puzzle. It tells everyone watching that the next state will arrive at a specific moment, and if you are late, you may lose the thread. Cicada understood the drama of waiting. When the countdown ended, the website revealed coordinates. Not one place, but many. Locations appeared in different countries and time zones. The puzzle had become impossible for a single isolated solver. People had to coordinate, travel, photograph, and report back. At those locations, people found posters. They were physical objects placed in real cities, carrying the cicada symbol and QR codes. That is the moment Cicada stops feeling like a clever post and starts feeling planned. Someone printed these. Someone placed them. someone expected the internet to come looking. The real-world stage does not prove a government, or a company, or a secret society. It proves coordination. It proves preparation. And psychologically, it made the puzzle feel alive. A stranger could now stand in front of a polar wall and touch the same mystery that had started as pixels. The posters led back into the digital hunt. More messages, more ciphers, more hidden services. This back and forth is part of Cicada's appeal. It made the internet feel porous, as if a file could become a place and a place could become a file again. By early February 2012, a final public message appeared. It said the individuals they sought had been found, thanked the people who had tried, and hinted that more opportunities would come. It also left behind a huge number as a postscript, exactly the kind of loose thread that keeps a community awake. If Cicada had ended after the first month, it would still be remembered. But the next January, the pattern returned. That is when the mystery changed from a strange event into an ongoing identity. In January 2013, another image appeared. The language was familiar. The search for intelligent individuals was continuing. So were the methods, hidden data, signed messages, book codes, and the demand that solvers keep moving between tools instead of settling into one comfortable trick. One of the early 2013 messages gave a riddle for the book behind a new code. The answer pointed toward Aleister Crowley and the Book of the Law. Cicada's references were becoming more ceremonial and more unsettling, but the mechanical demand was still precise. Identify the source, apply the code, verify the signature. The 2013 path also used audio. In puzzle communities, a sound file is not only something to hear, it can be inspected as a waveform, opened as data, or viewed as a spectrogram. Cicada kept rewarding that mindset. If a medium can carry information, assume it might be carrying more than one layer. This is where Gematria Primus enters the story. It connects runes, Latin letters, decimal values, and prime values into a compact system. It was not just an alphabet chart, it was a bridge between language and number, and it would become central to the later Liber Primus material. The archive also preserves material around a custom environment, often described as Cicada OS. Whether you think of it as a puzzle stage or a technical artifact, it shows the same design principle. The solver is expected to be comfortable crossing boundaries. Images, books, audio code, operating systems, and hidden services all belong to the same puzzle language. The public trail eventually narrowed again. Some people claimed private contact, some material leaked. Some of it is hard to verify cleanly, so it has to be handled carefully. The recurring themes, though, are consistent: privacy, censorship resistance, anonymity, and the idea that technical ability should be joined to a philosophy of information. The third major return is where Cicada stops feeling like only an internet puzzle and starts feeling like a private mythology with a technical manual hidden inside it. In 2014, the trail led toward a book. The 2014 clue arrived through the Twitter account associated with the earlier hunt. The language was more ritualized now: epiphany, pilgrimage, enlightenment. It still used the old machinery, but the tone had shifted from recruitment notice toward initiation. The hidden content pointed toward Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay Self-Reliance. That choice fits Cicada almost too well. The puzzle had used the crowd, but it kept rewarding independence. Now it invoked a text about trusting the self and resisting the easy safety of conformity. The 2014 path moved through onion services, image analysis, RSA material, and layered files. The puzzle was testing transfer. Could a solver move from literature to number theory, from a picture to a binary object, from a philosophical hint to a mathematical operation? Some stages rewarded looking not at an image alone, but at differences between images. This is one reason Cicada is difficult to summarize cleanly. A clue might live in text, metadata, subtraction, compression, audio, or a tool's output. The puzzle kept changing the question from what do you see to what kind of thing are you looking at. Gematria Primus became the key visual grammar of the later puzzle. Runes were not only symbols, they carried letter values and number values, including primes. That allowed a page to act like a text, a numeric object, and a cipher surface at the same time. Liber Primus means first book. It is the artifact that turned Cicada from a sequence of clues into something that feels like a canon. It contains runic pages, philosophical passages, number structures, instructions, and ciphertext that many solvers still have not been able to finish. Some pages have been decoded, many remain resistant. The solved passages mix self-directed philosophy, skepticism toward imposed authority, and instructions about knowledge and transformation. It is not proof that Cicada was a religion, but Cicada clearly understood how to borrow the texture of one. The solved pages are useful because they show the style of the book without requiring us to pretend the whole thing is solved. Cicada liked language about testing, seeking, truth, the self and emergence around that language. It built a technical shell, runes, numbers, hashes, and hidden services. Page 56 is one of the most maddening pieces. It points toward a page somewhere in the deep web, identified by a hash rather than a normal address. In other words, it does not simply tell you where to go, it tells you what the destination will prove itself to be after you find it. Page 57 is shorter and more poetic. It invokes the instar, a stage in an insect's life, moving toward the surface and shedding an old boundary. That image fits the entire cicada mythology, hidden for years, emerging on a schedule, leaving a shell behind, calling out and disappearing again. This is why Liber Primus keeps the mystery alive. A normal puzzle ends when the answer is found. A myth grows when the answer opens into more space. Cicada left behind enough evidence to study, but not enough to close the center. The book is there. The authors are not. Now we get to the question everyone wants answered. Who was behind Cicada? The responsible answer is that we do not know. That is less dramatic than the theories, but it is the only answer the public evidence can support. An intelligence agency theory is easy to understand. The puzzles look like cryptography recruitment, but there is no public proof. An alternate reality game explains the theater, but no product or sponsor stepped forward. The privacy collective theory fits many themes, especially anonymity, censorship resistance, and cryptographic tools, but even that remains a theory. After 2014, the old yearly pattern stopped. In 2015, a signed message denied association with illegal activity by others using the name. In 2016, another signed message pointed back toward Liber Primus and warned people to verify the known OpenPGP key. That warning may be the most practical sentence Cicada ever gave the public. Beware false paths, verify the key. The mystery attracts speculation, but the puzzle itself keeps insisting on discipline. Proof matters more than confidence. In 2017, the last widely recognized signed message repeated the same idea in even plainer form. Beware false paths, always verify the PGP signature from 7A35090F. If Cicada has a final public lesson, that is it. Cicada still works because it combines wonder with unease. The wonder is real, strangers solving impossible things together, one layer at a time. The unease is real too, the sense that someone anticipated the crowd, measured it, and knew when to close the door. Most internet mysteries are mysterious because evidence is missing. Cicada is different. There is so much evidence, images, signed messages, posters, audio, hidden services, solver accounts, and the Liber Primus. Yet the center is still empty. We have the trail, but not the people who made it. Maybe the last answer is still hidden in Liber Primus. Maybe it died with a server that went offline years ago. Maybe a handful of people know and have chosen silence. Or maybe the point was never only the answer. In 2012, Cicada said there was something hidden in an image. More than a decade later, the image is no longer the mystery. The mystery is who was looking back. I hope you enjoyed this dive into Cicada 3301. We'll keep investigating internet mysteries, strange clues, and unanswered questions. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.